Linwood, welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new here, welcome. I am a fantasy author, and today's video is going to be a tutorial on Scrivener. If you're unfamiliar with it, Scrivener is a word processing program that has a lot of extra features. Today's tutorial will by no means be complete. I'm just going to go over the basic features and then some of my favorites. So my goal today is not to give you every little in and out, every little bell and whistle. My goal today is to kind of make Scrivener more accessible and less intimidating, because I know a feature-rich program, especially if you aren't super tech savvy, which I've never been in the tech savvy crowd. But if you aren't super tech savvy, I know that a feature-rich program like Scrivener can be intimidating. So that is why I'm making today's video. Okay, let's get started with the actual tutorial. So this is the basic look of Scrivener when you first open it. I do have mine in dark mode. I strongly prefer it. If you prefer light mode, simply tap on your Scrivener, go up to, I think it's just under the Scrivener. Yep. Appearance, light mode, or a system default if you want to match whatever you usually use. I have a strong dark mode preference because it helps eye strain. At least it helps mine. Yeah. As another quick note, I use the Mac version of Scrivener. So if you have a PC, it will look slightly different, but it should have most, if not all, of the same features. Just some of the keyboard shortcuts may be different, and the features may just be in a slightly different location, but they are all there and fairly accessible. Now, a lot of newcomers to Scrivener find that when you open it up like this and there's so much going on, it's a little bit intimidating, especially if you're used to kind of your standard word processor. So what we can do is we can go up here to View and click Hide Binder to get rid of that on the right. And we can go over here to Inspector, this little eye, and just click it, and that hides. Yeah, so now it just looks kind of like a normal word processor. Okay, so we have our basic formatting bar, which is very similar to what you'd see in almost any word processor. Very typical. And then you have View and Search. Search is a useful feature. You can look for, and that's going to pop up your binder though, so that's what we call this left-hand page. But if you click on Search, it will pop up this, and you can just type in any word, and once you do, I'm going to type in the word chapter. So all of these popped up because I included the word chapter in them. You can see, you can just click between them. And if you want to leave your search bar, you should close this out. Or you could have hit X over here where it was. So let's hide the binder again and go back to, oops. If you hit this little bar, it will take you back to where you've been. So that's the search term. View has a lot of options here. Show binder, hide formatting bar, that's this thing. I like to show that though. I use it a lot. You can show the ruler, hide the ruler. I'm not sure what hide page view does. Oh, it widens the thing so that you can type across the whole editor here. But I prefer page view. And then we have layouts, and this gets really a little bit complicated. Currently I have editor only mode. I think so we can pop back to default really easily with the 3-pane thing. Some of these are a little more frightening looking. Some of them are pretty typical. But those are, I would consider that an advanced feature, so I wouldn't explore it if you're just new. And in here we have, I called it the drafter, but it's called the editor. Script mode is just a footnote. Be aware that I think it's Command-Shift-8 switches you into script mode, which affects formatting and stuff. So if you are someone who's trying to like write a script, Scrivener is script friendly. So if you're writing for television or plays or what have you, I'm not very familiar with script mode because I've never intentionally used it. I have a few times tried to use a keyboard shortcut, which I think was Control-Shift-I or Command-Shift-I to do italics and accidentally hit that. Yeah, but that's helpful if you're looking for it. If not, don't worry about it. Just don't panic if you go into it. Just hit the same keys, which is Command-Shift-8, I believe. Compose mode, we have this little button up here. Compose mode brings you into compose mode. I have typewriter mode on, which means that if I type on the next line, it keeps where I'm typing in the center of the screen. You can turn that off fairly easily. Just hover at the bottom. Here is typewriter. Turn it right off. Then you're wherever you are on the page. There are a few options in here. So you can change the page width, change the paper position. I like to keep mine right in the middle. I actually don't tend to use this feature though. Now please note you can escape by hitting this little button in the corner or by hitting the escape key. As for your target, this is your document target. I don't actually use this feature, but you can set a word count goal and then it will kind of let you know what's going on. Right here, we have our word count for the current document listed. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I tapped on the table. I'm sure it did a thing with the mic. I need to not do that. I'm re-recording because I kept doing that. Okay, let's see. Target zoom. So down here we can change how close we are to the paper. It's pretty easy. You just normally click on it and scroll up and click. And you can fit page or you can fit width, which to me is horrifying. I tend to keep it on about 125. Yeah. And then we have split screen, which is a fun option. If you click this up here, it will make 2 copies of whatever you're on. Or if you click in one screen or the other, see how we're highlighting them? You can click over here on any one of your scenes or chapters or documents, and you can split screen with it. Which this can be pretty useful if you're trying to reference a previous scene while you're writing. Like say you want to remember the exact description of a given location or the way that a character talks. You can pull up a reference page. You can also pull up actual research if you have research documents in here. Now when you go to close out split screen mode, you want to make sure that you have the right one highlighted and you click the one that you want to keep. Also a quick note before I close it, you do not have to keep them the same size. They have independent zoom levels. You can go like this as much as you want on either one. And we're just going to keep our little topics outline here. As for the binder, that's this section. It comes with, I added this one right here, so ignore that. It comes with a draft, research, and trash. So draft, I think the standard is it says manuscript. I just changed the title of it by double clicking it and typing in. But draft is typically what you're going to compile. It's the one with this funky looking icon as its representative. So when you go to actually bring your book outside of Scrivener, that's what compile means. You're going to pull all your files into one document or one PDF or one docx or what have you. Yeah, so you want to be aware that draft, unless you specifically mark it, draft is just what's automatic, or a manuscript. The research folder is separate. You can put whatever you want in there. I honestly don't tend to use mine very much. I tend to have like separate notes folders and get really into the weeds. And that's the fun thing with Scrivener is you can use what they give you or you can make your own. Let's see, other. I don't know what I was thinking when I put other. Let's just delete that. Templates is another feature that Scrivener offers that I would consider an advanced feature, so I wouldn't worry about it when you're first getting into the program. But you can import something as a template, and then you can use it. Basically, you can have like a character profile you like to fill out with all of your projects or something along those lines, and then you can import it into every new project in a special folder, and then you can create from that folder a copy to use as a character profile or whatever you're using it for. It sounds complicated, but it is actually not that hard to do. I just wouldn't start with it because you're still getting used to the program. Folders versus files. This is a little quirk of Scrivener. There's actually no difference. So you see I have my chapters labeled as a folder. These are a file. The only difference is the icon. So I can convert to file and it turns into pages. Convert, and I'm just right clicking to do this. Convert to folder. The other thing is these icons. You will see these two are different. I actually went in and right clicked on one of these and I scrolled down to change icon, and these are all the options available. Now what I typically do is I use colored way stations to represent different point of view characters, but I tend to write multiple point of views. So if you are doing something else, maybe you want to track what kingdom it's taking place in, maybe you just want to track what kind of scene it is, there's all these options. You might use like light bulbs for notes or magnifying glass for research or whatever you want to do. They have a lot of room for room for you to experiment, room for you to make it your own. And you can actually, I believe, do custom icons. I haven't really delved into that, but it is a feature that's available. Now moving on from the outliner, let's take a look at the inspector. Over here we have our first, I'm not going to go over every feature in the inspector, I'm just going to go over the ones that I use. And the inspector is something that I do find very, very useful. I love it. So this is like your scene title here is the same as here. I shouldn't call it scene title, your document title. Whatever you're currently clicked on over here. Chapter 1, Chapter 1, Chapter 1. Scene 1, Scene 1, Scene 1. The other thing is, if you change the description here, when I show you the corkboard feature in a little bit, that will change it there as well. And I'll explain that in a minute. And then you have notes here. You can type as many notes as you want. They do not appear anywhere else. They're just kind of private notes for you that are only on the single document. So if you type notes here and then you click into another document, it'll be a new set of notes. And then we have the bookmarks I don't use, so I can't really explain them. But it's a navigation tool, so you can like save stuff and then navigate through large documents easier. And then we have outline. This little taggy thing. Include and compile, I would not mess with that unless you have kind of figured out what you're doing. I wouldn't worry about section type either. This is all related to when you finally take your manuscript out of Scrivener, and it's really kind of the baseline default settings are best if you're just trying to do basic things. So I have put in custom metadata here, and what metadata does is you can track different things across different scenes, and then they'll show up in other places. If you click on this little three dots thing, I can add metadata here, or I can remove a category with the slot there. And then I added keywords as well. So I'm clicking these little carrots to make things disappear or appear. So keywords kind of works the same way. You can add, you can subtract, you can go in here. If you double click on something, you can click into it and change the color. And this was a double click as well right here. So I could make that yellow, say, and now character A appears yellow. But let's make him red to match our red up here. And let's add a character B. And let's make character B, double click. Let's make character B blue to go with our second way station type. And there you have it. Then when I go in on scene 1, I can go in here and I can type character A, and that shows up. And I can go into the second one, hit plus, type in character B, and this will show up other places. I will show you that in a minute. And I did kind of generically add some metadata tags to show off what I'm talking about. If we go to our outline, keywords, snapshots. This is the next tag here. A snapshot, you can just hit this little plus button. Now I have a copy of this. If I delete everything, oh no, something terrible happened. It's deleted. And say I closed Scrivener and then I opened it back up, and I can't just Control Z like you normally would. But I can click on this and hit roll back. And when you roll back a document, you will go to the old version. You can take a snapshot of the current version. The default is yes. So let's do that. And now you see there's a second snapshot here. So we hit roll back. We're going to hit no this time because we already have a snapshot. And then you can delete snapshots too if you don't like them. And you can rename them just by double clicking in here. Outline, demonstration. So that is useful if you're afraid of deleting stuff, or if you want to say edit a scene but you're concerned that you won't like the changes, you can always save a snapshot of the scene, and then if you don't like the change you can roll back. Personally, I don't tend to use snapshots for that. I will make a copy of a scene, put it in another folder, and then that way I can make use of the side-by-side thing with the old version and the new version, but to each their own. Our last tab is the comments tab. So what we do is we click on something or highlight something, and then you hit this little thingy, and a comment pops up, and it default includes date and time that you make the comment. I don't tend to do that. I'm just going to say, like, this character needs to be more expressive. What are they feeling? How does the reader know? You know, the kinds of notes that you would leave for yourself while you're editing. And you can change the colors. Defaults are red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. You can do any of these or make a custom color. Personally, I organize my comments. I will have like blue be character, purple I think I use as setting related notes. Green is prettying the language up. I think red is style or something. Yellow, I can't remember what I do exactly, but I have an assigned thing for each color. And then you can just close it once it's resolved. Yes, now we're getting into view modes. So we have these three things up here. I'm actually going to click on the draft to demonstrate this. So we have, this is just the basic single document that we have going here. If you click this multi-document thing, everything pops up together. So say we click into chapter 1. This will just be chapter 1. Or if we're on the draft, it'll be all of the chapters. If we just click a scene, only one scene shows up. Be aware that at some point, say your draft is hundreds of thousands of words long, the way that Scrivener stays so fast, and you can have, like, I've had hundreds of thousands of words in a single Scrivener project. This is what we call, like, this setting. So I've had hundreds of thousands of words in one. And it doesn't slow down at all, because the way Scrivener works is it only loads whatever you're clicked into. So it's very fast. If you have Scrivenings mode open, that's what we call this, and say your document is 200,000 words, it's going to slow down the same way that like Google Docs or Word would. It's not magic. Yeah, so that is Scrivenings mode. Then we have the corkboard, which, as you'll see, we have chapters 1, 2, 3. So if you click on the whole draft, you're not necessarily going to see all of the information you want to see. You can change what it looks like. You can put according to keywords. And you can change like the card size, the ratio, the spacing, how things are here. Typically, I will just do the basic view. You can click into your scene, and then here's the scene. I know that there's a way to make it so that the chapter appears in front of it over here, but I can't quite recall how to do that. If I figure it out, I will add it on the end. Yeah, but you can click in here. As you can see, there's status stamps. This is down to, I don't think I showed these. So we, in addition to, I missed one thing on the inspector. So the label, if we click into like scene 1, I've labeled character 1 Jeffrey, and I've labeled character 2 Abigail. Now you can do whatever you want for labels. This could be not related to characters. It could be related to subplots. It could be anything under the sun. It works the same way, where you add it with a plus, you subtract with a minus, you double click one to change the color. Yeah, so you can just label every document with whatever you want. And then you also have a status, and these are the defaults, but again, you can edit that. So you can subtract them if you want to. You can add new ones. It's very customizable. So then, as I was saying, corkboard mode. These things that show up here, that is a status stamp. If you don't want them to show up on your little note cards here, we go up to View, Corkboard Options, Show Status Stamps. Personally, I prefer to include them. You can also view corkboard options. Let's say we wanted to show the keyword colors, so those pop up here as little flags, but we've built in redundancy, so we have those as little flags already. Corkboard options. You can also label cards, do blank cards as guests. What's that do? Okay, so this puts it according to keywords. So if you wanted to do subplots or whatever, you could do kind of tracking by subplot or tracking by character or whatever it is that suits you. Personally, I'm not a fan of that. It just gets a little unwieldy for me. So I will just go to, I don't arrange by label. Now this background here is a custom background. I think the default is an actual corkboard, but you can just import a picture. So you go to Scrivener, Settings, Appearance, Corkboard, Colors, Custom Background. Which sounds complicated, but it's actually, it becomes fairly intuitive pretty quickly. What else did I want to show you? Okay, so this description here is the same one that we saw in our inspector here. Oh, no, it's not, because only because I didn't put a description here, it will use your first paragraph or so. So if we look at the outline in corkboard mode, where's my card? If we look at chapter 1 and we have our outline, we will have, this is a description, which is the same description that's in the inspector. Okay. And then the last view mode is the outliner, which I did want to show you. This is another place where like status and keyword and stuff can show up. So I have it set to do title and synopsis, label, and to show you what synopsis means, I'm just going to put outline there as well. So under outline, it'll say this is the description. And you can change the labels right from here. You can change the names right from here. That will change the names over here as well. Can change the status. Section type, I don't care about generally. So let us look at viewing options. View outliner options. So you can hide the synopsis, you can hide the icons, you can hide the label, the status. Let's hide the section type. View outliner options. We can also add all kinds of things. Modify, like the last time you modified it. Your keywords, let's add those. Corkboard outliner options. We can add our custom metadata. Where do we add that? Here they are. So your metadata will show up just as individual options. So say you want to track your weather across the whole project, and you can actually click in the draft and it'll show you everything. So I really like the outliner because I use it to kind of track, and if you click on this, it will sort by the thing you're clicking on. Not to worry, you just click back here and it sorts by its original order. What was I saying? I really like to use the outliner to kind of make sure I'm not having every single scene sunny, make sure I'm doing seasonal changes as I go. I do keep track of like even though I write fantasy, I keep track of what the equivalent real world date would be so that I can match my weather to that for the what's the thing that's weather but long term? For the location that I'm at, I can match the weather to the date. That's gonna bother me. I missed a word there. Anyway, yeah, so that is the outliner mode. And then we can go back to our single. Let's bring our outline back outside. So, I did want to go over a few of my favorite features just up here in this bar. Bear in mind, these will look a little different on PC. This is like a Mac thing where they appear up here. Originally, when I got Scrivener, I was like, where are all the features? Because I was used to doing the PC version. But as I showed you, there's settings. You can mess with the appearance in a lot of areas. You can customize the colors and stuff. They will show up differently in light mode versus dark mode, so just bear that in mind. Index card options. Yeah, inspector and notes, main editor, corkboard. So you can change like the opacity of the status stamps and various things here. You can change the index card, fonts, colors, a lot of different options in here. And again, we've got general editing behaviors, all kinds of options. As a general rule, it's fine to just ignore this. You don't have to look at it. Again, Scrivener can be as complex or as simple as you want it to be. But let's look through here. Theme, appearance is where I did light mode, dark mode. Theme is a little different than that. So like if I click a Midsummer Night, this is a dark mode theme, so it looks normal here. But if I clicked on one of the other ones, like Purple Haze, it's gonna look a little funky because oh, here we go. No, I don't want to do. So if I click one of these, it has to go back into light mode to do it. But I just prefer basic dark mode. And you can do custom ones too, but I don't get into that. File is all the basic stuff. When you're finally done with like actually writing your book, you will come into file. It's not going to be export, that's more for individual documents. You're going to go all the way down to compile, and then don't change anything unless you've gone through the hardcore tutorial that Scrivener gives you. Otherwise, just compile for either docx, doc, RTF, PDF, whatever you want. Just do the basic version that it offers you. Hit compile and it'll pop up. It'll ask you what folder you want to save it to. Just do it that way. It's very simple. It doesn't look simple, but it actually is. I wouldn't worry about all these. These are advanced features. You don't even have to worry about it. Let's see, what else do we have? Edit. Again, these are kind of the basic things you see other places. Spelling and grammar. One note is that if you use the find tool, I have found that for project replace, where you replace everything in the whole project, so say I wanted to change the word character to the word person, we can do the whole thing. It will show us how many documents are changed. That was only in 2 documents. That's weird to me, but okay. So yeah, that will change that. But if you're doing a character's name, like say you had a placeholder name, you named them John, and you want to name them like something really cool, you're going to want to do the plain version and the apostrophe S version. I learned this the hard way. When you go to edit, find project replace. So it'll be like John, you're replacing with, I don't know, what's a cool name? Malcolm. Showing my age. Yeah. And then you'll want to do John's and Malcolm's. Edit does have a couple other cool things. Text hiding. I really recommend going through, like when you're about to compile your thing. You want to replace multiple spaces with single spaces. You want to remove empty lines between paragraphs unless you're doing those on purpose. And I recommend doing leading tabs and zap gremlins as well. So zap gremlins refers to like if you've been copy and pasting stuff from other documents, like say you had a PDF version that was an old scene that you were trying to save from a previous draft or something. You might have some weird formatting characters that they're not visible to you when you're looking at it, but it can affect formatting. So if you hit zap gremlins, it takes those out of your project and then it will format so much easier. I don't worry about this. This is just the basic thing that is in all word processors pretty much. View, again, this one's a little more complex because we have corkboard mode, outliner mode, binder, editor. But other than that, it's fairly typical. Navigate, I have literally never used this, but you can go to like the editor, you can go to the previous page. Scrivener likes to give you multiple ways to do stuff. So like I can click on this, go to bookmarks, and this pops up here, when I could have just as easily clicked here and clicked here. Yeah, so then we have project. These again are like some of the same features you have over in your binder. So if you wanted to add say you wanted to add a folder, just click here. So you wanted to add a document, click this little plus. So it's some of the same stuff. Documents, you can kind of explore up here and see what's available. Format is, again, going to be a lot of the same stuff that's in the formatting bar. Window is just like how it's appearing in your window. Help. Scrivener does have a very robust help available option. We have a manual and we have an interactive tutorial. And if you go through this and you feel like, okay, I actually want to learn more, I highly recommend going through their interactive tutorial. I love the way it's set up. You have the basics, you have going further. So if you start here and you work your way through the basics, you don't have that much to do. And then if you want to get like super into the customizable options, you do going further. So you don't have to do it all at once. You can go through and pick and choose and just look for, like say you wanted to do keywords, just type in keywords here and it will bring up places where that's mentioned. So you can kind of pick and choose what you're going through. Personally, I got a ton of value from going through the whole tutorial. I've actually done it, I think, 3 times because I did it when I switched computers from PC to Mac, and I did it when they upgraded from like Scrivener 2 to Scrivener 3. So I've been through that a few times. I do love it. I think Scrivener is so good about just helping you if you're confused. There are forums where you can ask questions, you can contact support, and you can make sure that your Scrivener is up to date if you haven't already. But I absolutely love Literature and Latte. They are so good about getting back to you if you have an issue, even if it's like an issue with your license or something. And do remember that Scrivener has a free trial, which I believe is for 30 days. We can double check that right now. Let's go to Literature and Latte. So we're going to scroll past sponsored result because those can be scammy. I believe it's 30 days. Actually, let's check the FAQs. Here we go, 30 days. So it stops working, but it does not delete your files. So you can go back in and do it. And you see this note here. If you use it every day, it stops working after 30 days, but it will last for, it only their free trial of quote unquote 30 days is 30 days of you actually using it. If you download the free trial and you use it once and then don't touch it again, and then you remember, oh hey, I downloaded Scrivener, you can go back in and have 29 days of free trial left. So I really love that they do that. It's a wonderful feature. And then you can kind of get oriented, see if it's for you. And yeah. So that is the end of the tutorial portion. And then I'll see my actual face in a second. Well, that's all for my tutorial. Thank you for watching. And if I didn't cover a feature that you really wanted to see, please let me know. And I can either answer questions in the comments or I can make a follow-up video. My goal here is honestly just to help you with your Scrivener program, so let me know, and I will get to it as soon as I can. And but I do respond to comments. I want to kind of give you guys what you need, so just let me know. And again, thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, please leave a little book emoji so that I know that you watched the whole tutorial. It's helpful feedback for me.